Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi Dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today we're going to take a careful and analytical look at a statement that has recently been circulating among followers of the Iraqi Dinar community. According to the information being discussed, there are claims that final system checks are currently taking place with banks and that these checks should be nearing completion. The same discussion suggests that once those checks are finished, individuals may begin receiving what are often referred to as 800 numbers, which would supposedly allow people to set appointments for currency exchanges, possibly starting as early as Thursday. Now, whenever information like this begins circulating, it's important to step back and examine it from a financial, institutional, and economic perspective rather than simply accepting it at face value. The Iraqi currency system, the international banking network, and the policies of institutions such as the Central Bank of Iraq operate within very structured regulatory frameworks. These frameworks involve multiple layers of financial oversight, international coordination, and compliance standards that must be followed before any significant monetary change can occur. To begin understanding the context behind these claims, we should first talk about what system checks could realistically mean in a banking environment. In modern financial systems, banks routinely conduct system checks and technical testing. These checks often involve verifying payment processing platforms, currency settlement systems, international wire infrastructure, compliance monitoring, and security protocols. Banks must ensure that their software systems are properly synchronized with domestic clearing networks and international financial messaging platforms, including systems used for cross-border transactions. These technical procedures happen regularly in every banking system around the world. They are not necessarily indicators of a currency revaluation or any immediate exchange event. Instead, they are part of normal financial maintenance and infrastructure management. When a banking system undergoes updates, upgrades, or security testing, internal verification processes are performed to ensure everything operates smoothly. In the case of Iraq's financial system, modernization efforts have been ongoing for several years. The country has been working to strengthen its banking sector, improve digital payment infrastructure, and align its financial systems with international standards. These reforms are part of broader economic programs designed to stabilize the financial sector and increase investor confidence in the Iraqi economy. The value and stability of the Iraqi dinar are primarily influenced by macroeconomic conditions within Iraq. These conditions include oil revenue performance, government fiscal policy, foreign reserves, inflation levels, and the strength of the domestic banking sector. Iraq remains one of the world's major oil-producing countries, and energy exports continue to play a central role in the country's financial position. Because oil revenue is so important to Iraq's economy, fluctuations in global energy markets can directly affect government revenue, foreign currency reserves, and overall monetary policy decisions. Institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank have frequently emphasized the importance of financial reform, transparency, and banking modernization as part of Iraq's long-term economic development strategy. This brings us to the concept of 800 numbers that sometimes appears in online discussions. Within certain communities that follow the Iraqi dinar closely, the idea of receiving special phone numbers to schedule currency exchanges has been mentioned for many years. However, from a traditional banking and regulatory perspective, currency exchanges normally occur through established financial institutions such as commercial banks, currency exchange offices, and international banking platforms. If any major policy change were to occur regarding the Iraqi currency, it would typically be communicated through official channels. Announcements would likely come from the Central Bank of Iraq, government officials, or internationally recognized financial institutions. These announcements would also be reflected in global financial markets, currency trading platforms, and economic reporting systems. Major currency policy changes rarely happen quietly or through private appointment systems. Instead, they tend to involve broad public communication, regulatory adjustments, and coordination with international financial markets. That does not mean Iraq's financial system is static. In fact, over the past several years, the country has been actively working on strengthening its monetary framework. The Central Bank of Iraq has taken steps to improve foreign currency auctions, regulate the flow of dollars within the domestic economy, and address concerns related to currency stability. These reforms are designed to protect Iraq's financial system from volatility and ensure that the national currency remains stable in relation to other global currencies. Stability in the currency market is particularly important for countries that rely heavily on international trade and oil exports. Another factor to consider when evaluating rumors about rapid currency changes is the role of exchange rate policy. Exchange rate adjustments are major decisions that require careful planning. They can affect government budgets, import costs, inflation rates, and the purchasing power of citizens. Because of these wide-reaching impacts, central banks typically move cautiously when managing exchange rate policies. For Iraq, maintaining financial stability remains a top priority. The country has experienced periods of economic turbulence in the past, including political transitions, security challenges, and fluctuations in global oil prices. These experiences have shaped the government's current approach to economic policy, which emphasizes gradual reform rather than sudden shifts. In recent years, Iraqi leadership has also focused on strengthening government institutions and promoting economic diversification. Efforts have been made to expand sectors outside of oil, including agriculture, manufacturing, and infrastructure development. These initiatives aim to reduce reliance on oil revenue and create a more balanced and resilient economy. Political stability also plays a significant role in currency confidence. Investors and financial institutions typically evaluate a country's political environment when assessing its economic outlook. When governance structures are stable and policy direction is consistent, financial markets tend to respond more positively. In Iraq's case, the government has been working to implement economic reform programs while navigating a complex political landscape. These reforms include improving tax systems, strengthening banking regulations, and encouraging foreign investment in key industries. From the perspective of Iraqi Dinar followers, these structural reforms are often viewed as long-term indicators of economic progress. Improvements in banking systems, financial transparency, and economic governance can contribute to a stronger overall financial environment. However, these developments usually unfold gradually rather than through sudden currency events. Returning to the claim about system checks being completed and exchanges potentially starting on Thursday, it is important to recognize that there has been no official confirmation from recognized financial authorities regarding such a timeline. Without confirmation from institutions such as the Central Bank of Iraq or other regulatory bodies, information circulating online should be treated as speculation rather than verified financial news. In the global currency market, exchange rates are determined by a combination of government policy, economic performance, and market demand. When a country adjusts its exchange rate policy, the change is typically reflected immediately across international trading platforms and financial reporting systems. For investors and observers, the best approach is to focus on confirmed developments rather than unverified rumors. Monitoring official announcements, economic indicators, and policy decisions provides a more reliable understanding of where Iraq's economy may be heading. Short term, the Iraqi dinar is likely to continue reflecting the underlying fundamentals of Iraq's economy. These include oil export revenues, government spending policies, foreign currency reserves, and the progress of banking reforms. If Iraq continues strengthening its financial institutions and maintaining stable economic management, these factors could contribute positively to the country's long-term economic outlook. Long-term, Iraq's economic future depends on several critical factors: continued infrastructure investment, improved governance, diversification of economic sectors, and stronger integration with international financial systems will all play important roles. The modernization of the banking sector is particularly important because it supports everything from international trade to domestic business development. A modern and efficient banking system allows businesses to access credit, process payments, and participate in global markets more effectively. It also increases confidence among international investors who may be considering entering the Iraqi market. As these reforms continue, Iraq's financial system may become more resilient and transparent. This type of progress is often viewed positively by global financial institutions and rating agencies. However, these developments usually unfold over years rather than days. For followers of the Iraqi dinar, understanding the broader economic context is essential. Currency value is not determined by rumors or expectations alone. It is shaped by real economic performance, government policy decisions, and the confidence of financial markets. This is why responsible financial analysis focuses on verifiable information rather than speculation. Watching how Iraq manages its economic reforms, oil revenue strategies, and banking modernization will likely provide more meaningful insight into the country's financial trajectory. As always, it is important to approach any claims about imminent currency exchanges, special exchange numbers, or fixed timelines with caution unless they are supported by official statements from recognized authorities. Financial markets operate on transparency and regulation. When significant changes occur, they are typically announced publicly and documented through established financial channels. For now, the discussion about system checks and possible exchange appointments remains part of the broader online conversation surrounding the Iraqi dinar rather than confirmed economic policy. Observers should continue monitoring official sources and credible financial reports to stay informed about genuine developments. The Iraqi economy continues to evolve, and reforms aimed at strengthening financial institutions are ongoing. These reforms may contribute to long-term economic stability and growth, but they should be understood within the context of gradual structural progress rather than sudden financial events. Thank you for watching Iraqi Dinar News. If you appreciate balanced and responsible coverage of Iraqi dinar developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video so you don't miss future updates. And as always, remember that this content is provided for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always conduct your own research and consult qualified financial professionals before making any investment decisions.